Man found his pregnant wife drenched, crying in the rain, after his mother threw her out at night. Hello guys, welcome to another hit. Kindly subscribe if you haven't subscribed, like and share, but don't forget to comment your thoughts. Speech balloon. And to our story. Naomi Walker had always believed that when you married into a family, you didn't just marry the man. You married everything that came with him. That included the laughter, the burdens, and yes, even the sharp-tongued mother-in-law. She had known Claudine Walker wasn't her biggest fan from the very beginning, but what happened that stormy night still felt like something ripped straight out of a nightmare. The rain had been falling hard all evening, hammering against the windows of the Walker family home like the sky itself wanted to warn her of something coming. Naomi, 7 months pregnant, was sitting quietly in the living room, both hands cradling her swollen belly. The baby inside kicked softly, almost as if to remind her she wasn't alone, even when the house felt like it. Claudine's voice had been growing louder and sharper over the past few weeks, but that night, it sliced like broken glass. "I told you from the start, Naomi, you ain't fit for my son. You've done nothing but trap him with that baby. A woman who really loves her husband wouldn't be sittin' here moochin' off his hard-earned money." Naomi's throat tightened. She wanted to say something back, but every word felt stuck somewhere between her chest and her lips. Instead, she stood slowly, pressing her hand to her back where the pregnancy pain had been gnawing all day. "Mrs. Walker," she said gently, because she still couldn't bring herself to call her by her first name. "I don't want trouble. Derek and I love each other. And this baby." "This baby," Claudine cut her off, pointing a wrinkled but steady finger at Naomi's belly, "is the reason my son's life is over before it even had a chance to begin. You think I'm gonna stand here and let you ruin him? Not in my house." Naomi blinked, her lips trembling. "Not in my house." That phrase echoed inside her head like a thunderclap. The rain outside roared louder, as if agreeing. Before Naomi could even react, Claudine stormed over, yanked the front door wide open, and the wind howled into the room, carrying with it sheets of water and the smell of wet earth. "You want a family so bad. Go out there and start one by yourself," Claudine barked. "Get out of my house." Naomi froze, her body trembling. "Please, it's raining. I'm pregnant. You can't." "I said get out," Claudine snapped, grabbing Naomi's small suitcase, the one she hadn't unpacked fully since moving in, and shoving it into her arms. And just like that, Naomi found herself standing in the cold rain. The door slammed behind her. She stood there for a long moment, the storm soaking her hoodie and maternity dress until they clung to her skin. Her suitcase sat by her feet, slowly growing wetter, the edges of her clothes inside sticking out like wilted flowers. She wrapped her arms around her belly, whispering, "It's okay, baby. Mommy's here. Mommy's here." The baby kicked again, stronger this time, almost like a protest. Naomi started walking toward the sidewalk, her slippers squishing in the puddles, but the world felt blurred by the rain and her tears. Neighbors peeked from their windows, their silhouettes faint behind curtains, but nobody opened their door. Nobody wanted to get in the middle of Claudine Walker's wrath. She sat down on the curb, shivering, staring at the streetlights flickering through the downpour. For the first time since she married Derek, she felt like she didn't belong anywhere. Meanwhile, Derek Walker had been working late at the auto shop where he was a mechanic. The rain had slowed business, and he'd stayed behind to finish some repairs. He wiped the grease from his hands, checked the clock and sighed. "Naomi's probably hungry," he murmured to himself. He smiled at the thought of her rubbing her belly, asking if he could make one of his terrible grilled cheese sandwiches. He missed her when he worked late, and he couldn't wait to see her. But when he pulled into the driveway, headlights cutting through the sheets of rain, his chest tightened. There right on the curb sat Naomi, soaked to the bone, shivering, hugging her belly as if protecting it from the world itself. "Naomi!" Derek leapt from the truck before even shutting the engine off. He splashed through puddles, nearly slipping, and dropped to his knees beside her. "Baby, what happened? What are you doing out here?" Naomi's lips trembled, her teeth chattering. She shook her head, unable to speak. Derek pulled his jacket from his back and wrapped it around her shoulders, his own shirt immediately clinging to his skin in the rain. He cupped her face, his eyes searching hers desperately. "Talk to me, Naomi. Please. Did you fall? Did somebody?" Her whisper broke him. Your mother. She threw me out." Derek froze. His heart stopped for a beat. He turned toward the house, where the warm yellow glow of the kitchen lights spilled through the blinds. He could picture Claudine sitting in her chair, sipping her tea like nothing had happened. The storm outside was nothing compared to the storm that brewed in Derek's chest. The next morning, the world acted as though nothing had happened. The sun rose, the birds sang, and children rushed off to school, laughing and squealing in their brightly colored jackets. But inside Derek's little apartment, the world felt heavy, like a storm cloud still hung low over their heads. Naomi sat on the couch in one of Derek's oversized t-shirts, her hair still damp from the rain the night before, her eyes puffy from crying. Her hand rested on her belly, rubbing small circles, almost as though she were whispering comfort to the little life inside her. Derek stood at the window, staring out at the street with a jaw so tight it could have cracked a tooth. He hadn't slept much. He kept replaying the image of his wife shivering on that curb, drenched and humiliated, while his mother's house glowed warm and inviting behind her. His heart boiled, then froze, then boiled again. "Derek!" Naomi's voice broke through the silence. Soft, fragile, but steady in its own way. "You don't gotta keep standing like a soldier on guard. Come sit with me." He turned, his eyes softening when they fell on her. He walked over, sat beside her, and took her hands in his. "Naomi, I'm sorry. I never thought she'd actually do that. She always ran her mouth, but..." Naomi gave a small, tired laugh, though it carried no joy. "Your mama don't just run her mouth, Derek. She runs the whole dang show. And last night, she showed me just where I stand." Derek winced. "You stand with me. Not her." Naomi turned her head, her eyes searching his. "But you came from her. She's your blood. And when she hates me, it feels like half of you hate me too." The words stabbed deeper than Naomi realized. Derek pulled her close, kissing her damp forehead. "Don't ever say that. I'll go to war with anybody over you. Even her." Naomi chuckled faintly, brushing his chest. "War with your mama? You sure you're ready for that battle? That woman built like a tank and got a mouth sharper than a knife." Even Derek had to laugh, though it was short-lived. Humor was their only relief from the ache. By midday the entire neighborhood knew. That was how things worked in their part of Atlanta. Word spread faster than wildfire, and Claudine herself had probably lit the match. Derek got a call from his Aunt Shirley, who spoke with a kind of exaggerated sighs that made you feel like you owed her money. "Baby, I just need to ask. What's this I hear about your mama putting Naomi out in the rain? And her bein' pregnant too. Lord, people talkin' like y'all in some reality show." Derek pinched the bridge of his nose. "Aunt Shirley, it's true, but..." Before he could explain, Naomi, sitting close enough to hear, rolled her eyes and muttered, "Go ahead, let the whole family put us on trial." The calls kept coming. Cousins, family friends, even folks from church. Everyone wanted to know why Derek's wife had been left out in the storm like a stray cat. Some scolded Claudine, but others, shockingly, defended her. "She just want the best for you, Derek," one cousin insisted. "Naomi ain't from no big family, she ain't got money, she just gone weigh you down. Mama's seein' the bigger picture." Naomi overheard that one and burst out laughing. Loud, bitter, and almost hysterical. "Weigh you down? Baby, if anything, I been the one holding him up. Who you think helped pay bills when he got laid off? Who you think been saving coupons so y'all can eat Sunday dinner with sides?" Derek squeezed her knee gently, grounding her. But the humiliation burned. Naomi had always been proud, always held her head high. Now she felt stripped, exposed. That evening, Derek couldn't take it anymore. He drove back to his mother's house. The same house he grew up in, the same house where laughter once filled every corner, now felt like a battlefield. Claudine was in the kitchen, frying chicken like nothing had happened. The smell filled the house, rich and greasy, a scent that normally would have made Derek's stomach rumble. But tonight his appetite was gone. "Mama," he said firmly, stepping inside. She didn't look up. "You came for dinner. Grab a plate. I made plenty." "I ain't come for dinner." His voice cracked. "I came for answers." Finally she turned, spatula in hand, her eyebrows arched. "Answers? About what?" "Don't play with me, Mama. You threw Naomi out. Pregnant. In the middle of the night. In the rain. What kind of person does that?" Claudine set the spatula down with a loud clack. "A woman who raised a son to know better. You out here playin' house with a girl who don't deserve you. I told you from day one, Derek, she ain't the one. But you don't listen. So yeah, I sent her on her way. Better now than later." Derek's blood boiled. "Mama, she's my wife. My child's mother. You don't get to decide who deserves me." "I do." Claudine's eyes narrowed, her lips curling into a thin line. "Then I guess you've chosen her over me." The words hung in the air like a curse. Derek stood frozen, his heart pounding. Meanwhile, back at their apartment, Naomi sat with a notebook in her lap. She had started writing again, something she hadn't done in months. Each word she scribbled was a release of pain, a way to take her broken heart and turn it into ink. She wrote letters to her unborn child. "Baby, I don't know what tomorrow holds. But I promise you this. Your mama will never let you feel unwanted. Even if the whole world turns its back on us, we gon' stand tall." When Derek returned, his face heavy with grief, Naomi looked up and forced a smile. "You look like you wrestled a lion." "Close," he muttered. "I wrestled Mama." Naomi giggled despite herself. "Did you win?" He slumped beside her. "Don't feel like it." She basically said it's her or you. Naomi's smile faltered. Silence stretched between them until finally she whispered, "Then we already know her choice." Derek pulled her close, burying his face in her hair. "I'll choose you. Every time." And for the first time since the storm, Naomi allowed herself to believe it. Naomi sat on the worn brown couch in the little one-bedroom apartment she and Derek had just rented. The walls were thin, painted in off-white that looked more like yellow in certain light, and the carpet carried faint stains from tenants before them. It wasn't much, certainly not the home Claudine had decorated so immaculately over the years, but it was theirs. And for Naomi that meant everything. The pregnancy had grown heavier on her body, every step a careful act of balance. But every time she rubbed her belly, whispering, "Mommy's got you. Daddy's got us," she found renewed strength. Derek came through the door carrying a bag of groceries. Well, groceries was a stretch. It was mostly bread, peanut butter, instant noodles, and some apples. He set it down with a sigh, wiping sweat from his forehead. His job at the auto shop didn't pay much, but he worked late and picked up every shift they offered. Naomi smiled faintly. "You look tired." He forced a grin. "Nah, I'm strong. I got this." But the slump in his shoulders betrayed him. She patted the couch, and he sat next to her. For a moment, they just leaned into each other's silence, listening to the hum of a neighbor's TV through the wall and the occasional car passing outside. "I'm sorry you had to leave that house," Derek whispered, guilt dripping from his voice. Naomi tilted her head. "That house wasn't a home. Not if I had to cry myself to sleep every night." His jaw clenched. "Mama had no right." "Shoo." Naomi pressed a finger to his lips. "Don't waste your energy on her. Save it for us. For the baby." The days blurred into one another, filled with challenges. Naomi's swollen feet made walking difficult, yet she forced herself to keep the apartment tidy, to cook meals with the little they had, and to prepare for the baby. One afternoon, she waddled to the laundromat with a basket of clothes. The stares from strangers didn't bother her. What did sting was the sight of couples folding clothes together, laughing about spilled detergent or socks that didn't match. Naomi longed for that kind of normal joy. But when she returned, she found Derek had taped up a colorful poster he'd found at work. "Dream big, little one." He'd pinned it right above the makeshift crib they'd set up from a second-hand store. Her eyes watered, and she hugged him so tightly he laughed, pretending she was crushing his ribs. "Don't ever let me go, Derek," she whispered. "Never," he promised. But Claudine wasn't done. She called Derek often, her voice cold, guilt-ridden, and manipulative. "You're abandoning your family," she snapped one night over the phone. Naomi could hear her voice through the thin walls. "My family is right here," Derek answered firmly, glancing at Naomi as she rubbed her belly on the couch. "Boy, don't you dare talk back to me. That girl's ruined your life. You were supposed to marry someone better, someone who could give you a future. Not a girl who can't even keep herself together." Naomi swallowed hard, pretending not to hear, but every word pierced her. Derek's fists clenched and he finally shouted, "Mama, if you can't respect my wife, then you don't respect me. Don't call again until you can." The silence that followed was deafening. Then came the click of the phone line. Naomi's tears flowed. "Derek, you didn't have to." "Yes, I did," he cut her off. "Because you're my wife. And I'll choose you every time." For the first time in weeks, Naomi felt a fragile but undeniable peace. Nights were hardest. The baby kicked endlessly, and sleep eluded her. Derek would wake up to her whispering prayers, hands clasped over her belly. "Dear Lord," she murmured, "give me strength to raise this child in love, even if the world around me is cruel. Let my baby never feel unwanted. Let this little one know they were worth every storm, every tear, every sleepless night." Sometimes she'd chuckle at herself. "Baby, if you come out kicking like you do in here, I might have to sign you up for football." Derek would laugh softly, placing his large hand over her belly. "Or basketball. Don't forget your daddy was MVP back in the day." "Please," Naomi teased, rolling her eyes. "You tripped on your own shoelaces more than you scored points." Their laughter cut through the heaviness of their lives, reminding them they still had each other. Claudine had refused to throw Naomi a baby shower. "Don't expect me to celebrate a mistake," she'd said bitterly. But Naomi's neighbor, a kind older woman named Miss Geraldine, surprised her. One Saturday, she knocked on Naomi's door holding a small cake with pink and blue frosting. "Baby, I know it ain't much," Miss Geraldine said, her voice like honey, "but every mama deserves to feel special. So today, this little apartment is your baby shower." Naomi burst into tears. There were no fancy decorations, no mountain of gifts. Just a cake, a few baby socks Miss Geraldine had knitted, and love. But for Naomi it was perfect. Derek snapped a photo of her laughing with frosting on her nose. For the first time in months, Naomi looked like herself again. Radiant, joyful, unbroken. Late one night, Naomi sat at the table with a notebook. She wrote a letter addressed to her unborn child. "My sweet baby, the world tried to tell me you were a burden, but to me you are my blessing. Every kick I feel reminds me that I am never alone. One day when you read this, I want you to know your mother fought for you, prayed for you, and dreamed of you long before you were born. You are my victory, my miracle, and my reason to keep breathing." When she finished, she folded the letter and slipped it into a box where she planned to keep baby mementos. Derek, standing quietly in the doorway, whispered, "You're gonna be the best mom." Naomi turned, eyes wet. "I hope so." It was a stormy Friday night when Naomi woke with sharp pains. The contractions came fast, leaving her breathless. "Derek!" she cried, clutching her belly. He scrambled from bed, fumbling for the car keys. It's time. Oh Lord, it's time." He nearly tripped over his shoes as he tried to help her to the door. Naomi groaned, sweat beading on her forehead. "Don't you dare panic now, Derek. You panic, we both doomed." Even through her pain, she cracked a laugh. They made it to the hospital in the pouring rain, Naomi gripping Derek's hand like a lifeline. Nurses rushed her into a room. As the hours dragged, Naomi screamed, cried, laughed deliriously between contractions, and squeezed Derek's hand so hard he thought she might break it. Finally, the sound filled the room, loud, raw, and beautiful. The cry of new life. Naomi collapsed back against the pillow, tears streaming down her face as the nurse placed a tiny baby on her chest. "Welcome to the world, my love," Naomi whispered, kissing the baby's damp forehead. "You're finally here." Derek sobbed openly, kissing both Naomi and the baby. "We did it, baby. We did it. Naomi and Derek have their baby, after so much rejection, pain, and resilience. This is the turning point, the beginning of hope." The tiny apartment was filled with the sweetest sound Naomi had ever heard, the gentle cooing of her newborn son, Micah. His small fingers wrapped tightly around hers, and Naomi felt her entire world shift. Every sleepless night, every tear shed, every humiliation endured, it all seemed worth it now. Derek hovered close, still in awe. "He looks just like you," he whispered, brushing Micah's cheek. Naomi chuckled softly. "Poor boy, he already got my nose." No, Derek grinned. "That's a winning nose right there." The first few weeks were brutal. Naomi barely slept, waking at every cry. Her body was sore from labor, and exhaustion weighed on her like chains. But every time Micah nestled against her chest, she felt a strength that words couldn't explain. One dawn, as the sunlight crept through their thin curtains, Derek found Naomi rocking Micah in the chair, singing a lullaby in a cracked voice. "Naomi," he said gently, "you should sleep. I can take him." She shook her head, smiling through her fatigue. "I can't stop staring at him. It's like I'm scared he'll disappear if I blink." Derek knelt beside her, kissing her hand. "He's real. And he's ours. Nobody can take him away." Naomi had hoped Claudine would come see the baby. She imagined maybe, just maybe, a grandchild would soften the woman's heart. But weeks passed with no call, no visit, not even a text. One afternoon, Miss Geraldine dropped by with a pot of soup. "How's my little prince today?" she cooed, making Micah giggle. Naomi smiled, though a shadow lingered behind her eyes. Miss Geraldine noticed. "Still no word from your mother-in-law?" Naomi shook her head. "Not a word. I thought maybe Micah would change something in her. But it's like we don't exist." The older woman sighed. "Baby, sometimes blood don't mean love. Sometimes love comes from the people who choose you, not the people who birthed you." Naomi swallowed hard, blinking back tears. I just wanted Micah to have a grandmother." Meanwhile, Derek fought his own war at work. The auto shop boss had heard whispers. Claudine had been telling anyone who would listen that her son had ruined his life by running off with a nobody. One evening, Derek came home furious, slamming his work gloves on the table. "She's out there poisoning people's minds, Naomi," he growled. "Even at work. Folks look at me like I'm a fool who threw away his future." Naomi reached for his hand. "Derek, let them talk. You know the truth. And Micah will grow up knowing his father fought for him, not for people's approval." He exhaled shakily, running a hand through his hair. "You're right. You always are." She smirked tiredly. "Don't forget that." Months passed, and Micah grew stronger. His first laugh came when Derek made a ridiculous face, crossing his eyes and puffing out his cheeks. Naomi laughed so hard she nearly dropped the camera. "See? He loves me best," Derek declared proudly. "Please," Naomi teased. That was sympathy laughter. Their small apartment echoed with laughter, warmth, and love, things Claudine's big house had never truly known. One Sunday, Naomi dressed Micah in his best little outfit, a blue onesie with tiny shoes, and convinced Derek they should try attending church again. As they entered, whispers rose immediately. Naomi held her head high, but her stomach churned. Then she saw her. Claudine, sitting tall in the second row, hat perched perfectly on her head, surrounded by her friends. Her eyes widened when she saw Naomi carrying Micah, and Derek walking proudly beside them. Claudine's lips tightened into a line. After service, she approached them with a cold smile. "So, this is the child." Naomi's grip on Micah tightened protectively. "Yes, Mama," Derek said cautiously. "This is Micah." Claudine tilted her head, studying the baby. Well, I suppose he looks healthy." Naomi's heart sank. No joy, no love, just indifference. Claudine turned on her heel and left, leaving Naomi trembling. Derek wrapped his arm around her. "Don't let her steal your peace," he whispered. But Naomi cried quietly that night, rocking Micah. Why isn't he enough for her? Why aren't we enough? Unknown to them, Claudine did wrestle with her conscience at night. In the privacy of her room, she sometimes picked up a pen, began writing letters. Apologies, explanations, confessions of fear. But pride always won. She tore them up before finishing. She told herself she was protecting her son's future. Yet deep down she knew she had lost him and the grandson she refused to embrace. Despite the hurt, Naomi found small victories in motherhood. The first time Micah said, "Mama," she nearly fainted. The sound was sweeter than any apology Claudine could ever give. Derek danced around the apartment declaring, "He said Mama first because I've been teaching him." Naomi laughed, tears streaming. "Oh, so you trained him to love me more." "Thank you, Coach Daddy." Micah giggled, clapping his tiny hands. For that moment, all the wounds of rejection fade. When Micah turned 1, Derek's cousin invited them to a family cookout. Naomi hesitated. "What if your mother is there?" Derek held her hand. "Then she'll see what she's been missing. We're not hiding anymore." The cookout was lively. Kids running around, music blasting, smoke rising from the grill. Naomi dressed Micah in a bright red shirt, and he toddled after the other children, squealing with joy. Then, Claudine arrived. The yard fell quiet as people noticed the tension. Claudine's eyes landed on Micah, who was laughing as Derek spun him in the air. For the first time, her face cracked. Not anger, not disdain, but something Naomi hadn't seen before. Regret. Claudine walked closer but stopped a few feet away, watching silently. Naomi's heart raced. She didn't know whether to run or stand tall. Derek noticed his mother and stiffened. "Mama," he said firmly. Claudine's lips trembled. "That boy. He looks just like you when you were little." It was the first soft thing she had ever said about Micah. But before Naomi could respond, Claudine turned and left without another word. That night, Naomi wrote in her journal, "Maybe one day she'll love him. Maybe one day she'll accept us. But whether she does or not, Micah will grow up surrounded by love. He doesn't need her approval to shine. Neither do I." She closed the journal, kissed her sleeping baby and whispered, "We're enough. Always enough." Derek slipped an arm around her and kissed her temple. "We're more than enough, Naomi. We're unstoppable." And for the first time Naomi believed it. The end.